Does the killer's game have enough action for a good time, or does it have to fight for your attention? Welcome Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the Killer's Game. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Or is it somewhere right in the middle? Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. And going right into the synopsis. When a top hitman is diagnosed with a terminal illness, he must face one more hit on himself. But when he discovers his pregnant girlfriend is being hunted just as well by everyone that's after him, he must defend everyone off and be able to fight his way to freedom. And going right into positives, I went into this film with knowing very little about what to exactly expect, except for being an action film with Sofia Boutella and Dave Bautista, and how we're getting that. Director J.J. Perry, the camera movements are flowing in a great manner. The music really adds some buoyancy to the action and everything that flows on throughout. The music or certain lyrics within the songs aren't necessarily distracting from it, and there's a lot of energy with what is brought within the action. Great set locations that create some great different settings rather than being too stagnant with the nature of something that's monotone and the same all the time. And so where we're going with Dave Bautista and Sofia Boutella, how their relationship works is something to cheer for, something that you can really ride on throughout the film once you get them together. And you're also figuring out different details, different surprises along the way with what happens with the revelation of what we're getting out of Dave Bautista's character, his terminal illness, of what we're getting out of that without spoiling anything, of where that ultimately leads to, where certain fights get more engaged with what's going on throughout. But there's some sense of John Wick style to this, of just being able to be that hitman that fights off and being the top dog, the best hitman that Dave Bautista is playing. And so how that energy plays off is just really good within the fights, and just the flow of the nature of the story is a good element that really has something to be had with the story and narrative as a whole. And so while we're getting all of these comic book style feels, there are certain comic book panels in a sense in certain particular moments when you're introducing new characters. You have these name flashes across the screen, and they're very much characterized by what that character may be like, just introducing a short little clip of the scene of what kill they've done in the past that show their experienced killer. And so that just drives up the antics a little bit more, drives up what we're getting out of the stakes of this film as you're really uncovering certain ideas, secrets to the game, and Dave Bautista playing a character that it has some secrets hidden from the love of his life. And so how that slowly uncovers becomes something that's very satisfying by the nature of the action. And I had a good time, quite a few laughs from it, just the witty humor or certain snarky remarks along the way. How that blends in with the rest of the dialogue just works effectively to the fullest extent that I was not necessarily fully going into expecting a full-on comedy that worked. And so that's just what worked well with the drama, how that flows on throughout, with the romance that blends in with the comedy. And so that just works effectively to the nature of what I feel it's really asking for. Not necessarily anything that's too smart and complex within its narrative, but just something that is a good time, filled with action, and creating some characters that are engaging enough to deal with. Which leads me into the negatives, which there are certain aspects to the film where the story hits a few lulls along the way, doesn't necessarily feel at the fastest pace, and while there is some interesting ideas with what they're doing with the comic book panel type of ideas, the introduction to certain characters, you sort of know the general vibe of where their characters are going. The stakes aren't at the highest intensity because you're offering one main character that is the strongest of all the hitmen. And so there isn't necessarily a sense of always fearing the main character's life, what's going on throughout the film, and also just some of the build-up is a bit slow, not knowing where to take things, and you're not necessarily always going to be expecting all the answers out of what we're getting out of what the killer's game exactly is. So going into the film, it didn't necessarily leave me with the exact answers, though it is vague and somewhat implies certain aspects of what it means to be part of the killer's game. It doesn't necessarily diagnose what each syndicate means, how their connections work together, and so it's not necessarily an answer book or a deep methodical action film that has all the high stakes, has all the drama moments, that works well with each killer that is involved, that's on the hunt for Dave Bautista's character, Joe. And so what that all unravels is something that, while I have a really good time with it, it also has a few things that are left unanswered, don't always flow in the right manner, and just settles its own grounds for the type of film that you're maybe expecting it to be. And so that's just my personal review on The Killer's Game, which I have to rate as simply 7.5 out of 10. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of The Killer's Game. Was it good? Was it bad? Or somewhere right in the middle? Or if you're waiting for this review to help you decide if you're going to see it or not, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. And so that's just all, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.